Hello everybody and welcome to the Now Playing View module in our CasaTunesX 101 series. My name is David Krinker and I will be your guide today. Our goal is to teach you the ins and outs of the CasaTunesX app, and in this module we're going to learn all about the Now Playing View. Typically, when you first start the CasaTunesX app, you will start in the Rooms view as shown. This view allows you to quickly see all the rooms that are available for you to play music in. To play music in a specific room, you can navigate into the room by tapping on the room. So let's go into the office. The Now Playing view contains two sections. You have the app header at the top of the screen, and then you have the content section. In the app header, you will see that there's a back button which returns to the Rooms view. You'll see that there's a power button to power the room on or off. There is the name of the room, in this case office, as well as the current source that has been selected for the room, in this case David's player. On the right hand side of the app header you will find several buttons and notification icons. For example, in the current view here you can see that there is an alarm notification. This means that there is one or more alarms that have been set up for this room. Other notifications could include whether night mode is currently active for this room, or whether the sleep timer is active for this room. The last button in the app header is the Now Playing menu button. When the room is off, the app displays the room picture if it is available. To start playing music, you can either tap the power button or the play button. Let's go ahead and do that now. When you power on the room, it will start playing the music that you have previously selected, if any. If no music was previously selected, or you want to select different music, tap the Pick Music button to select your music. So if we turn off the room here, we can now go and pick some more music. And in the music selection view, you can select music from your featured items, your disc music, as well as various internet music services, both music and radio, and your CasaTunes playlist. The ins and outs of selecting your music will be covered in a separate video. This video just focuses on the Now Playing screen. So let's quickly select a playlist from our featured items and return back to our Now Playing view. Depending on the music that you select, the music servers may or may not support a queue. For example, some music services like Spotify and Pandora do not have queues. But we selected music from Qobuz, which does support a queue, so that we can demonstrate the available queue functionality. When a music service does support the queue, the songs in the queue will be displayed on the right-hand side of the screen. If the device you are using has a limited screen width and there is insufficient space to display both the Now Playing and the queue screens, then the app will add a View Queue button in our transport control areas down here. To move to a different song in the queue, simply scroll up or down in the queue and select the song that you want to play. When we display a queue, you may have noticed that the app will display a few extra buttons in the app header. These buttons, from left to right, the first one will scroll to the Now Playing. So if the current Now Playing song is not displayed in your list right here, selecting this button will scroll the screen down to the Now Playing song, which is this Angie song. The third button over here allows me to clear the queue. So if I press that button, it will then remove all the songs from the queue. I'm not going to actually do that. The next button allows us to save the queue as a CasaTunes playlist. So if I wanted to save this playlist here as a CasaTunes playlist, I can just go ahead and select this, and I can call this, let's call it the Best Rock playlist. So now that I have saved this queue as a playlist, if I now go to select music, you will see that if I go down to my CasaTunes playlist, you'll see the new playlist called Best Rock, Of course, these playlists are organized, are sorted in alphabetical order. To delete a single song in the queue, we press and swipe to the left. So if I want to remove Paradise City, I can swipe that to the left and then delete the song. On the left-hand side of the screen is the Now Playing screen. This screen is divided into 4 different sections. At the top is the information about the current music service and account information for the current playing song. This information includes the music service logo, in this case Quobus, on the left, and the user account on the right. The user account information helps identify which instance of the music service you are using when you have configured multiple instances of the same music service. For example, with Quobus, they offer a family subscription with up to 6 accounts, and each user account will typically have their own favorites and custom playlists, so it's helpful to know which account instance you are currently using. The next section includes the album artwork for the current playing song, and directly below it here is the progress bar, if it's supported. Or it could be a slider, which you can use to quickly move to any position within the song if positioning within a song is supported. Our Quobus music service provides song progress information. However, it doesn't allow us to reposition playback within a song. Below the progress or the slider, we'll find the metadata for the current playing song. The metadata also varies based on the music service, but typically will include the song title, the artist name, and the album that this song belongs to. And for Quobus, you can also see that we display information about the type of stream and the quality of the stream. So in this case, we're playing a FLAC stream at a fairly high bit rate. The CasaTunesX app offers 2 different types of volume controls. There's the slider that you can see here, as well as a up-down buttons. By default, CasaTunesX is set to automatically select the best control types, the volume control types, based on your screen size. So for larger screens, we recommend using the slider as shown here. For smaller devices, like mobile devices, we recommend using the up and down buttons. Regardless of the volume control, you will see on the left-hand side, we have the option of muting the room, toggling the mute button, changing the volume either using a slider or up and down buttons. And then on the right-hand side is the equalization button if our hardware supports it. The options available will depend on your hardware, but if there are equalization settings available, it would typically include things like the balance, the bass, and the treble, loudness. And as you can see in this case, since we are using a CT 12x8 matrix amplifier, which includes a 7-band equalizer for each room, we can also select an equalization preset from a list of predefined presets. Now, if we want to change, if we don't want CasaTunesX app to automatically determine the volume control for us, so let's say, for example, that because I have a large screen here, it's using a slider, but I really want to use the up-down buttons. What I can do is I can go to the menu over here and go into settings and select the app settings. And here you'll see in the general settings there is volume control. Currently it's set to auto, but if I want to override auto and use buttons, I can go ahead and do that. And now when I come back to my menu, to my Now Playing screen, you'll see that we now have the buttons instead of the slider. And the one thing to notice too about these buttons is they are auto repeat buttons. So for example, if I just press on the plus, it will increase it. If I press on the minus, it decreases it. We find that these buttons are better for smaller devices where you don't have a large amount of space for the slider to slide it up and down, and therefore the granularity is pretty difficult to control. But for larger screens like this one, where we have a lot of real estate, the slider is chosen by default. Now the last section in our Now Playing screen is the transport controls. And this section is mainly used to control the playback of your music. The actions available in the transport controls will once again depend on the type of music service that is currently playing. So here we are on Quobus, and you can see that there's a lot of different transport control action items. You can see here on the left hand, going from the left to the right, there's song information, which displays information about the track. We have the ability to set this as a featured, to set this playlist as a featured item or not. A featured item is, you can think of it as sort of like a CasaTunes favorites. Most items from most music services can be selected as featured items. And once they're selected as featured item, they appear as a quick select when we go to select the music. And so wherever you see the gold star, when an item is not featured, it'll be the empty gold star. And then when we want to make this a featured item, we just select it again, and now it's added to our starred items. Next to the featured items is our Quobus favorites. So each music service typically has a favorites capability, and what this would do is this would add this song, Wind of Change, to my Quobus favorite songs. The next options are to select different repeat modes. Currently repeat is on. If I select it again, it will do a repeat once. If I select it again, repeat is off. Next to the repeat is the shuffle mode, so I can shuffle the cue or play it in the order that it is in the playlist. So if I turn that on, you'll see the cue gets reshuffled. We can go to the previous track. We can toggle between play and pause. We can go to the next track. We can do a search. Now this search by default will search the Quobus music service. And when we select the search, it automatically selects the artist, assuming that you may want to find more information about the artist. But there's a better way to do that, and I'll show you that in a second. The next item over here is to pick music. So if you want to change what you're listening to, or you want to add to what you're listening to, you can go ahead and select pick music, and then you can navigate into the different music services and select the music you want to listen to. And then finally, we have an overflow for more options. If we select that, it'll display more options available. I can clear this queue. I can save this queue as playlists. I can go to this artist. So if I go to Queen now for Quobus, it will now let me select different Queen albums or top tracks, as well as find other similar artists. Similarly, I can go to the album, and this will take me straight to the Quobus, to this Platinum Collection album, which is what's currently playing. And I can add this song to a Quobus playlist. So now that we've done with the Now Playing information on the left-hand side, let's go back up and look at what options are available in our Now Playing menu. So that's this button on the top right-hand corner. If I select this button, you'll see a bunch more options, and be aware that you may need to scroll the screen to see all the options. So the first option allows us to quickly group rooms. That is, it allows us to share what's currently playing in this room with other rooms. So all I have to do is click Group Rooms. I'm in the office now. If I want to share this music with the master bedroom, I can just go ahead and pick it, and maybe with the master bathroom. So now I have 3 rooms that are playing the same music. And what you'll notice is that next to the room title name, you'll see that it says +2, which means that this music is now being played in 2 other rooms, just so that you're aware that there are other people listening to this music. Now, another thing that's nice about this group rooms with the group rooms capability is if I'm in the office, like I started out, and now I want to move, let's say, to the master bedroom, and I want my music to move from the office to the master bedroom, all I have to do is select master bedroom as the room that I want to go to, and then I deselect office. And what it does now is it actually moves my view into the master bedroom. Another thing to notice when we select multiple rooms, so let's say that we select these 3 rooms. One thing that you may also notice is that down here on the volume control, there's a new button that shows up called Group Volume. This allows you to change the volume for all rooms at the same time using this master control. See how it's changing all the volumes? Or you can change the individual rooms here. So the next menu item that I want to talk about is the select source for the current room. You can think of each source sort of as an independent media player, and we generally recommend that you assign a media player for each family member. This way, everybody in the home can listen to their own music on their own player without affecting the others. So in our example here, we have set up 3 media players, one for me, one for my wife, and then one for a guest. And then, of course, in addition to media players, CasaTunes supports other source components, for example, tuners, Sonos. And so in this case, we have 2 other sources that are available for music. And that includes a Sonos media player and a Bluetooth source. So to change the source, you just select the new source, and that switches the sources. To change the source, you can either select the source using the Select Source menu item, but there's also another shortcut. You can simply just tap on the office name, on the room name, and it will display your sources below, and then you can just select the source that you want to use. Press on the room name again, it'll hide it. Now, toggling the source names is configurable. In addition to toggling the source names, you can even toggle the room names. So with a large screen like this, you could display both the sources and the rooms at the same time, and then you would never have to leave this screen because you can have access to all the rooms from here. And the way to do that is just go into settings and go into app settings, and then down here in the view room settings, in the room settings, you'll see that we can display the sources, which is what's currently configured. And you can see that we can either hide, show, or toggle. So if you want them to show all the time, so you don't have to toggle on the room name, you can just do show. If you don't want to display them at all, you can just do hide. And similarly, you can do the same thing for room names. So you can actually toggle those. And then when we go back over here, now you see that we have both the room names and the source name. So if I want to switch rooms, like back to the office, I can do that. And then I can select a different source for the office. And again, when I toggle, they disappear. Toggle, they both come back on now. The next menu option is to configure our office alarms. You can see that in the office, I have created an alarm. It goes off at 7 a.m. in the morning. It turns off at 6 p.m. at night. It's scheduled for every day of the week. You can easily change that. You can also specify the volume levels, as well as select specific content, specific music that you want to play when the alarm goes off, or you can just say use current, which means that it will use the current source and whatever music's playing on the current source, which is how I have it set up. Now, in addition to accessing the alarms that way, you notice that there's an alarm button here in our app header, showing us that there's an alarm enabled for this room. So if I click on that, it's also a shortcut to be able to edit the alarms. The next menu item is going to be our set sleep timer. And what this does is it allows us to delay a certain amount of time before we shut the room off. So if you want to go to bed and you want to listen to music for a few minutes before you actually sleep, you can set it up. And for example, let's say I want to turn the music off after 15 minutes. And then what you'll notice is up in our header over here, you'll notice that there's a new sleep timer button, and clicking on that, you can actually turn off the timer for the room. So the next menu item is our night mode. So what night mode does is it's a cool CasaTunes unique feature. It basically allows you to set a different volume level at night. So at night, CasaTunes will enter night mode, and then it will lower the volume, as well as you can set a maximum volume so that you can't have loud music at night, and you can prevent paging in a room so that people that go to sleep early are not woken up by a page. That's a pretty cool feature. So the next two items in our menus is related to our CasaTunes Smart Tasks. A CasaTunes task is a task that contains one or more actions. These actions can be things like play music, control the rooms, control the music, play chimes, even convert text messages into playable audio. And they also, you can have delays between the actions or timer between the actions, schedules between the actions. And then using these basic building blocks, you can actually create some very sophisticated tasks. So once you've created these tasks, you can optionally add these tasks to the Now Playing menu here. So this My Favorite Albums is a task that we created. And if I select My Favorite Albums, what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to select the rooms that I want to play in. And then it will let me pick my favorite album. And then it will start playing in the rooms that I selected. So this is intended to be a very simple to use UI. And I'll show you how that works. So if I select My Favorite Albums, the first thing it does is it says, okay, so select the rooms that you want to play it in. So let's say I select let's say I select the master bathroom, master bedroom, and the office. And then I can select some of my favorite albums that I have added to my favorite albums list. And I can select Joshua Tree, for example. And now what it does is it will actually start playing the music in those rooms that I selected, playing Joshua Tree. Now, the other thing is, so this is a task that was added to this list, but David's music is actually my tasks screen, my custom task screen. So if I actually switch to that, you can see here that you can create this smart task screens. You can create all these different tasks. You can organize them in different categories, and you can assign them to different music. So I'm not going to cover any of that in here, but just know that there is this very rich macro-like capability where you can create these custom interfaces or use these tasks within your regular CasaTunesX app. And then finally, we have two other menu items here. We have settings and we have help. You've seen us do the settings. There's all kinds of settings. I mean, you can set up all of CasaTunes via these settings. And then the help is basically how to get help, or also some self-help things that you can go through if you're having issues. Okay, so now one last thing I want to show you is that there are some shortcuts that you can use that will make the user interface, I think, more enjoyable. First off, to turn a room on or off, just to toggle the power in a room, just double click on the image. So just double clicking on the image will turn the room off or on. To change the volume, we recommend that you use your finger as a sliding gesture. So if you take your finger and you scroll it upwards, that will increase the volume. If you take your finger and scroll it downwards, that will decrease the volume. So that's a really easy way, especially on a mobile device, to change the volume, so you don't have to get your fingers into the sliders or into the little buttons at the bottom. And then another shortcut is if you want to set up a sleep timer for a room, just basically when the room is powered on, just press and hold the power button, and it will bring up the power off option. And this can apply, by default, it applies to the current room, but you can actually also use it for all rooms. And you can select the delay you want before the rooms are turned off. Okay, well, I know that was a lot to cover. And of course, once again, if you have any questions or suggestions or feedback, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact us at support@CasaTunes.com. We hope you enjoyed this session and that we have provided you with the knowledge that you need to master CasaTunes. Thank you for your time.